The German invasion of Poland, which began on the 1st of September 1939, is generally portrayed as a very one-sided affair. But you may be surprised to learn that apart from putting up a valiant resistance to the German army on Polish soil, the Poles also managed to invade Germany in an operation where a Polish army column actually advanced several miles into German territory, routing local Wehrmacht forces. This is the story of the raid on Fraustadt, Poland's successful invasion of Germany. The German invasion of Poland commenced the day after the Nazi security services had staged a false flag operation to justify the planned attack on the nation, this operation known as the Gleiwitz incident. In short, the SS staged a fake Polish invasion of German territory by dressing up a unit of men in Polish army uniforms and staging a mock attack on the German radio station at Gleiwitz just inside the German border. To add realism to the operation, an unfortunate Gestapo prisoner was brought along with the SS, also dressed in Polish uniform, and shot dead, his body being left behind at Gleiwitz. Hitler could then claim that Poland had launched an unprovoked attack on Germany, and the next day, 1st of September 1939, invade as planned. Gleiwitz was one of several such false flag operations used to give credence to the German arguments that it was simply defending itself from a hostile and dangerous Poland. But on the 2nd of September, one day into the massive German onslaught, and one day before Britain and France declared war on Germany, Polish troops really did cross into Germany to attack. On the morning of the 2nd of September, Polish reconnaissance aircraft checked the area of Fraustadt, a small town in Silesia, then part of the Free State of Prussia. German troops were dug in around the town and several other villages, forming a garrison. The 55th Poznan Infantry Regiment was ordered to advance across the border, supported by Polish artillery, and launch a raid on Fraustadt. Around 3 companies of the regiment took part, totaling some 300 men under the command of Captain Edmund Lesich. Attached arms included some transport vehicles, a heavy machine gun platoon, and an artillery battery. The northern flank of the raid was screened by a troop of mounted Uhlans, Polish cavalry, and a platoon of handy little TKS tankettes. The south was screened by a single platoon of infantry on bicycles. The attack commenced at 4 p.m. The road into Germany was blocked at the frontier by a German border guard post. Polish artillery began shelling it. The 55th Poznan Regiment's 2nd Platoon launched a strong assault on the border post, driving off the German guards and in the process capturing a big quantity of German weapons. A German motorcycle unit attempted to stop the Poles, but was itself driven off with many casualties. Shortly afterwards, the Polish artillery opened fire on the first settlement behind the frontier, the village of Geiersdorf, defended by German troops. The Germans evidently hadn't expected a Polish invasion attempt, and resistance quickly crumbled when Polish TKS tankettes drove into the village. By 6 p.m., the village was in Polish hands, captured by the 55th Regiment's 1st Platoon. The Polish guns now switched targets and began shelling the town of Fraustadt, causing casualties among the German defenders as the shells hit the German barracks. Lieutenant Stefan Perkiewicz and the 3rd Platoon pushed on, reaching the outskirts of Fraustadt some 5 miles into German territory. The Germans panicked. The roads out of Fraustadt were full of German troops and local civilians fleeing the shelling and approaching Polish infantry and tankettes. But as night fell, the Polish forces were ordered by higher command to withdraw back to the frontier, the objective of the raid being to raise Polish morale rather than attempting to hold captured territory. As Polish forces passed back to Polish territory with some German soldiers they had also captured, some ethnic German inhabitants at the village of Świecichowa came into the streets, waving swastika flags, thinking the German army had arrived. Fighting broke out between these Germans and Polish troops until order was restored. The Fraustadt Raid had demonstrated to the Polish people that the German army was not invincible, but it played no role in staving off Poland's defeat. The Germans remembered the raid, and after the Polish surrender, the raid's commanding officer, Captain Lisicki, was sought out by the Gestapo, who snatched him from his prisoner of war camp and murdered him in revenge for the successful cross-border raid. Interestingly, Fraustadt is today part of Poland, the entire region having been added to Poland after World War II. A memorial to the 1939 raid stands on the outskirts of the town, now called Wiszowa. Thanks for watching, please subscribe and share, and also visit my audiobook channel, War Stories with Mark Felton. You can also help to support both of my channels at PayPal and Patreon, details in the description box below.